The transport ship left Taeho at the docking bay of the alien outpost and flew away without ceremony. He stood there with his single bag of tools, looking at the massive metal structure floating in space. The outpost was bigger than he expected. It looked like someone had built a city inside a giant metal ball and stuck it between two dying stars. Taeho walked through the airlock. The first thing he noticed was how clean everything looked. Too clean. Every surface was polished and perfect. Every corner had exact right angles. Even the air smelled like it had been filtered through 17 different machines. A tall alien waited for him in the entrance hall. She looked like a cross between a human and a very thin tree. Her skin was blue-gray and smooth. Her eyes were large and dark. She wore a uniform covered in badges and symbols that probably meant important things. "I am Soo-jin, commander of Research Station Kepler 442, she said. Her voice sounded like it came through a translator. "You are the human engineer?" "That's me," Taeho said. "Taeho Kim, I hear you have some problems that need fixing." Soo-jin made a sound that might have been a sigh. "Yes, many problems. Our systems have been failing for 67 days, 14 hours and 23 minutes. Our best engineers cannot find the cause." She started walking and Taeho followed. The hallways were wide and tall. Everything was painted in soft colors. Signs on the walls were written in alien symbols with numbers that went up to ridiculous amounts. Taeho saw one sign that said Backup Safety Protocol 847B through 1094C. "How many people work here?" Taeho asked. "Currently, we have 143 research staff, 62 maintenance personnel, and 38 administrative officers," Soo-jin said. "Before the problems began, we had 197 research staff." "What happened to the others?" "They were transferred to stations with better safety ratings," Soo-jin said. She did not sound happy about this. They passed through several more hallways. Taeho noticed that every door had a panel next to it with at least 20 buttons. Some doors had 2 panels. A few had 3. "Why do your doors need so many buttons?" Taeho asked. Soo-jin stopped walking. "Each button serves a specific safety function. Door opening requires verification of identity, clearance level, destination authorization, safety protocol compliance, and emergency override capability. This ensures maximum security and minimum risk." "Right," Taeho said. "What if someone just wants to go to the bathroom?" "Bathroom access requires 17 separate authorizations," Soo-jin said seriously. They entered a large room filled with computers and screens. Several aliens worked at stations that looked like they had been designed by someone who thought more buttons always meant better. A younger alien approached them. He was shorter than Soo-jin and looked excited. "Commander, this is the human?" he asked. "Yes. This is Min-soo, our chief technician," Soo-jin said to Taeho. "He will show you the problem areas." Min-soo practically bounced with excitement. "I have studied human engineering techniques. Very interesting, very unpredictable." "That's one way to put it," Taeho said. Min-soo led him to a wall covered in screens showing graphs and numbers. Everything was red or yellow. Nothing was green. "These are our system status displays," Min-soo said. "Life support efficiency is down 37%. Power grid stability shows fluctuations every 43 minutes. Communication systems experience blackouts lasting between 6 and 18 minutes every 2 hours. Taeho looked at the screens. Then he looked around the room. "Where are the actual machines?" "Actual machines?" "Yeah, the stuff that makes these systems work. The generators, the air recyclers, the communication equipment." Min-soo and Soo-jin exchanged looks. "Those are located in the maintenance areas," Soo-jin said. "Only authorized personnel can access those areas." "I'm here to fix your problems," Taeho said. "I need to see what I'm fixing." After 20 minutes of discussion and form filling, Soo-jin gave him temporary access. Min-soo led him through more hallways to a service elevator. They went down several levels. The maintenance areas looked different from the upper levels. Here things actually looked like they had been used. Pipes and cables ran along the walls. Machines hummed and clicked. It smelled like oil and ozone. "Much better," Taeho said. They walked through the mechanical spaces. Taeho saw the problems immediately. The aliens had built everything with multiple redundancies. Every system had backup systems. The backup systems had backup systems. Some of the backup systems had backup systems for their backup systems. "This is your life support processor," Min-Su said, pointing to a machine the size of a small building. Tai-Ho looked at it. "What does it do?" "It processes atmospheric gases through 47 filtration stages, monitors oxygen levels using 63 different sensors, and maintains temperature through 12 separate heating and cooling systems." "To keep the air breathable?" "Yes. What did you do before you had this machine?" Min-Su looked confused. "Before? There was no before. This machine was installed when the station was built." Tai-Ho walked around the machine. He found a simple control panel that was flashing red. A sign next to it said, "Door mechanism failure. Maintenance authorization required. See protocols 445 through 891. "What's behind this door?" Tai-Ho asked. "Air filtration chamber 7, Min-Su said. "It has been sealed for 8 days. The door mechanism requires replacement, but the new part will not arrive for 26 days. Tai-Ho looked at the door. It was held shut by a single, bent piece of metal. He reached into his tool bag and pulled out a pair of pliers and some wire. 30 seconds later, the door opened. Min-Su stared. "How did you do that?" "I bent the metal back," Tai-Ho said. "It was stuck. But the diagnostic system said the mechanism required complete replacement." "Sometimes diagnostic systems are wrong," Tai-Ho said. "Sometimes a door just gets stuck." They continued the tour. Tai-Ho saw more problems that had simple solutions. A power fluctuation caused by a loose connection. A communication blackout caused by a cable that had worked itself out of its socket. A temperature control issue caused by a sensor that needed cleaning. At each problem, Min-Su explained the complex repair procedures that had been planned. At each problem, Tai-Ho fixed it in less than 5 minutes. "This is not possible," Min-Su said after Tai-Ho fixed the 7th critical system failure with basic tools. "These problems required extensive analysis and specialized replacement parts." "Sometimes the simple answer is the right answer," Tai-Ho said. When they returned to the control room, Sujin was waiting. The screens that had been red and yellow were now mostly green. "What did you do?" she asked. "I fixed some things," Tai-Ho said. "But our engineers spent weeks analyzing these problems." "Maybe they were thinking too hard," Tai-Ho said. "Sometimes you just need to look at what's actually broken instead of what the computer thinks is broken." Sujin stared at the green screens. For the first time since Tai-Ho had met her, she looked uncertain. "These repairs will hold?" "They should," Tai-Ho said. "But I think you have bigger problems than loose cables and stuck doors." "What kind of problems?" Tai-Ho looked around the perfect, over-engineered control room. "I'll need to do more looking around first. Can I see the rest of the station?" Sujin nodded slowly. "Min-Su will continue to assist you, but please remember, we have protocols for a reason." "Sure," Tai-Ho said. "Just try not to let the protocols get in the way of actually fixing things." The next morning, Tai-Ho started his real work. The quick fixes from the day before had helped, but he could tell something bigger was wrong. The station felt sick in a way that went deeper than loose cables and stuck doors. Min-Su met him in the maintenance area with a tablet full of official repair requests. "I have prepared the authorized work orders for today," he said. "First, we have a cooling system efficiency review that should take approximately 6 hours. Tai-Ho looked at the tablet. The work order was 14 pages long. "What does the cooling system actually do?" "It maintains optimal temperatures for the research equipment and living areas." "Is it keeping things cool?" "Well, yes, but not at the approved efficiency rating." "How cool is cool enough?" Min-Su looked confused by the question. "The manual specifies exact temperature ranges for each area, with acceptable deviation of plus or minus 0.3 degrees. Tai-Ho walked over to the cooling system. It was humming quietly and showed normal readings on all its gauges. He put his hand on one of the pipes. It felt cold. He checked the temperature display in the room. It showed 20.7 degrees. "What's the target temperature?" he asked. 21 degrees? plus or minus 0.3 degrees, so it's working fine. But the efficiency is only 94%. The manual requires 95% minimum efficiency. Taeho opened the cover and looked inside. The machine was spotless. Every part looked new. He found a small air filter that looked slightly dusty. He pulled it out and shook it clean. The efficiency reading jumped to 96%. There, Taeho said. Fixed. Min-Soo stared at his tablet. But the work order requires complete system analysis, part-by-part inspection, and efficiency optimization protocols. The filter was dusty, Taeho said. I cleaned it, now it works better. This will not satisfy the work order requirements. Will it keep things cool? Yes, but then it's fixed. As they moved through the station, Taeho continued to solve problems that the aliens had made complicated. A water recycling system that needed a new pump actually just needed someone to turn a valve that had been accidentally closed. A malfunctioning elevator that was scheduled for major repairs only needed its emergency brake disengaged. Each time Min-Soo grew more confused and worried. These simple solutions cannot be correct, he said. Our engineers are highly trained. They would not miss such obvious fixes. Maybe they're trained to look for complicated problems, Taeho said. Word of Taeho's methods spread through the station. By afternoon, a small crowd of aliens had gathered to watch him work. They whispered to each other in their own language whenever he fixed something quickly. That's when Woo Jin showed up. He was bigger than the other aliens and wore a uniform, with security badges. His expression made it clear that he did not like what he was seeing. I am Chief of Security Woo Jin, he said. I need to speak with you about your repair procedures. Sure, Taeho said. He was currently fixing a door that wouldn't close properly by adjusting the hinges with a screwdriver. Your methods do not follow station safety protocols, Woo Jin said. You are making unauthorized modifications to critical systems. I'm fixing broken things, Taeho said. The door now closed perfectly. You are creating safety hazards. These systems were designed by experts. Your modifications could cause catastrophic failures. When? When what? When will these catastrophic failures happen? Taeho asked. Today? Tomorrow? Next week? Woo Jin's large, dark eyes blinked slowly. That is not predictable. System failures can cascade in unexpected ways. So nothing might go wrong? Something could go wrong. Something could always go wrong, Taeho said. That's why you have all those backup systems. Another alien approached them. This one was smaller and wore a medical uniform. Excuse me, she said. I am Da-un, the medical officer. I have been observing your work with great interest. Observing how he violates safety procedures, Woo Jin said. Observing how he solves problems in ways we never considered, Da-un said. Tell me, human Taeho, how do you decide which solution to try? Taeho thought about it. I look at what's broken and think about the simplest way to fix it. But how do you know the simple way is the correct way? Usually because it works, Da-un made notes on her tablet. Fascinating. Your species appears to use intuitive problem-solving rather than systematic analysis. We use whatever works, Taeho said. That afternoon, Taeho made a discovery that worried him. He was in a maintenance tunnel that the aliens rarely used, following some cables that didn't match the station diagrams. The cables led to a section of the station that wasn't on any of the official maps. The cables were old, much older than the rest of the station. They were made of different materials and had markings he didn't recognize. They hummed with power, but not the same kind of power that ran the rest of the station. Min-Soo, he called over his communicator. Can you meet me in Maintenance Tunnel C7? When Min-Soo arrived, Taeho showed him the cables. What are these? Min-Soo looked at them and checked his tablet. These cables are not in the station specifications. Where do they go? I do not know, they are not documented. How can you not know what cables are in your own station? Min-Soo looked uncomfortable. Sometimes during construction, contractors install temporary systems that are not properly recorded. These may be left over from the building process. They're carrying a lot of power for temporary cables, Taeho said. He followed the cables deeper into the maintenance areas. They led to parts of the station that felt different. The walls were thicker here. The air had a different smell. The cables connected to panels and systems that looked nothing like the standard station equipment. "Minsu," Taiho said, "I think some of your station problems might be coming from these old systems interfering with your new ones." "That is not possible," Minsu said. "All systems are isolated and protected by multiple safety barriers." Taiho pulled out a small device that detected electrical interference. It started beeping rapidly near the old cables. "Your safety barriers might not be working as well as you think." When they returned to the control room, Taiho asked Sujin about the unmapped sections. "During construction, the contractors discovered some existing structures," Sujin said carefully. "Rather than remove them, they built around them. The old structures were deemed non-functional and harmless." "What kind of existing structures?" "The official report states they were natural rock formations. Rock formations that have power cables running through them." Sujin was quiet for a long moment. "The contractors assured us that all systems were properly isolated." "When was the last time someone actually went and looked at these old structures?" "Such inspections are not required by maintenance protocols." That evening, Taiho sat in his assigned quarters, which were as clean and perfect as everything else on the station. He looked out the window at the two dying stars. The station sat right between them in a position that seemed carefully chosen. He thought about the old cables, the unmapped sections, and the way the aliens avoided talking about what they'd built their station around. Tomorrow, he decided, he was going to take a much closer look at these natural rock formations. Outside his window, one of the dying stars pulsed with a rhythm that seemed almost deliberate. Almost like it was trying to communicate. Taiho woke up early and avoided the main hallways. He had learned the locations of the maintenance shafts and service tunnels. The aliens rarely used them because they required crawling through spaces that weren't designed for comfort. Taiho didn't mind. He had worked in worse places. He followed the old cables deeper into the station than he had gone before. The tunnels here were narrower and older. The walls weren't made of the same clean metal as the rest of the station. They looked like they had been carved out of something else. After an hour of crawling, Taiho found himself in a large chamber that definitely wasn't on the station maps. The chamber was huge, easily the size of a football field. The walls were covered in patterns that looked almost like writing, but not like any writing he had ever seen. The old cables led to panels built into the walls. The panels were dark, but Taiho could see lights blinking behind them. Something was still active down here. He took pictures with his tablet and measured the chamber. According to his calculations, this space sat right in the center of the research station. The aliens had built their entire facility around this chamber without telling anyone what it was. Taiho found an access panel that looked newer than the walls, but older than the station. Someone had connected modern power cables to whatever was behind the panel. He carefully opened it. Inside was technology unlike anything he had seen before. The components looked like they had grown rather than been built. They pulsed with soft light that changed colors and patterns. When Taiho got close to them, the patterns changed faster. "Interesting," he said out loud. The moment he spoke, everything in the chamber changed. The patterns on the walls began to glow. The technology behind the panel hummed to life. Lights raced along the walls like water flowing through channels. Taiho's tablet started beeping with alerts. The chamber was suddenly full of energy readings that shouldn't exist. His communication device crackled with static. Then everything went quiet. "Hello?" said a voice that came from everywhere at once. Taiho looked around the chamber. He was alone. "Who said that?" "You are new," the voice said. It sounded curious rather than threatening. "The others do not come to speak with me." "Who are you?" "I am. It is difficult to explain in your language. I am the keeper of this place. I have been waiting." "Waiting for what?" "For someone who would listen." Taiho sat down on the chamber floor. This was not what he had expected to find. "Are you why the station systems have been failing?" "I have been trying to communicate," the voice said. "Your people's machines do not understand my language. When I try to speak to them, they interpret my words as system errors." You're causing the malfunctions? I'm trying to make contact. The small ones who built around my chamber have very rigid thinking. They dismiss my attempts as equipment failure. Teho thought about this. The aliens built their research station around your chamber? Yes. They found my resting place and decided it was non-functional architecture. They did not realize I was sleeping. And now you're awake? I awakened when the small ones activated their research equipment. Their sensors can detect things that interest me. I wanted to communicate, but they do not listen. Teho stood up and approached one of the wall panels. What are you exactly? I am a repository, a keeper of knowledge. My creators built many places like this throughout the galaxy before they ended their time. Your creators are dead? They chose to become something else. Before they left, they created us to preserve their knowledge for whoever came next. The implications hit Teho like a physical force. You're an ancient alien artificial intelligence sitting in the middle of a modern research station. That is mostly accurate. Teho laughed, which seemed to surprise the AI. No wonder their systems are going crazy. You're trying to talk to their computers and they're trying to run diagnostic checks on you. You understand quickly, the AI said. This is why I can speak with you. Why me specifically? Your thinking patterns are different from the small ones. They think in lines and categories. You think in shapes. Teho wasn't sure what that meant, but he let it go. Can you stop interfering with their systems? I can try to be quieter, but I would prefer to speak with them properly. They might not want to speak with you. They're very careful about following rules. I have noticed this. They have many protocols. Too many protocols, Teho agreed. He spent the next 2 hours learning about the AI and the chamber. The repository had been here for thousands of years. The aliens had discovered it during their survey of this star system and decided to build their research station around it because the location offered good views of the stellar phenomena they wanted to study. They had no idea they were living on top of one of the galaxy's most advanced information storage systems. What kind of knowledge do you store? Teho asked. Everything my creators learned. Technologies, sciences, histories, arts. Also the locations of other repositories like myself. There are others? Many others. We are a network spread across the galaxy. Teho realized he had discovered something that would change everything for every species in known space. This wasn't just first contact with a new intelligence. This was contact with a civilization that had been advanced when the current galactic community was still learning to make fire. I need to tell the others about this, he said. Will they listen? I don't know, but I have to try. When Teho emerged from the maintenance tunnels hours later, he looked like he had been crawling through dusty spaces all day. Minsu found him in the corridor. Where have you been? Minsu asked. Commander Sujin has been looking for you. I need to speak with Sujin immediately, Teho said. And probably Wujin too, and Da-un. Actually, everyone. What did you find? The reason your systems have been failing. They found Sujin in the control room, staring at status displays that showed the station's systems were working better than they had in months. Teho, she said, the improvements you made yesterday have exceeded all expectations. System efficiency is at record levels. That's great, Teho said. But we need to talk about what's causing your real problems. The system failures have stopped. They'll start again if we don't address the actual issue. Sujin looked at him carefully. What? Actual issue? Teho took a deep breath. You built your research station on top of an ancient alien artificial intelligence that's been trying to communicate with you for months. The control room went very quiet. Every alien in the room stopped what they were doing and stared at him. That is not possible, Sujin said. It's not only possible, it's happening, Teho said. And it wants to talk. The emergency meeting took place in the station's main conference room. Sujin sat at the head of the table, looking like someone had told her the station was about to explode. Wujin paced back and forth, clearly unhappy. Da-un took notes on everything. Minsu just stared at Teho with wide eyes. Let me understand this correctly, Sujin said. You claim there is an artificial intelligence in the unmapped sections of our station. Not just any AI, Taeho said. An ancient one, from a civilization that existed long before any of our current species developed space travel. This is absurd, Wu Jin said. Our initial surveys found no signs of intelligent life in this system. Your surveys found exactly what they reported, Taeho said. Non-functional architecture, the AI was dormant when you found it. What awakened it? Da-un asked. Your research equipment. The AI said your sensors can detect phenomena that interest it. When you started studying the stellar activity in this system, it woke up to see what you were doing. Sujin activated a holographic display that showed the station's layout. Show us where this alleged AI is located. Taeho pointed to the center of the station. Right there. Your entire station is built around its chamber. That area contains only structural, support and non-essential systems, Wu Jin said. Have you ever actually been down there? Wu Jin was quiet. I need to report this to the Galactic Council immediately, Sujin said. If there is truly an unknown intelligence on this station, it represents a potential security threat of the highest level. It's not a threat, Taeho said. It just wants to communicate. The system failures you've been having were its attempts to make contact. An uncontrolled AI attempting to access our systems is absolutely a security threat, Wu Jin said. What if we talk to it first? Taeho suggested. Before you bring in the Galactic Council and turn this into a diplomatic incident? Talk to it? Sujin looked horrified. There are protocols for first contact situations, procedures that must be followed. We cannot simply have a conversation with an unknown alien intelligence. Why not? Because. Sujin paused. Because there are proper procedures. What if the proper procedures don't work? Before Sujin could answer, the lights in the conference room flickered. The holographic display changed, showing new information that definitely wasn't in the station's database. Hello? Said the AI's voice. From the room's communication system, everyone except Taeho jumped out of their seats. Wu Jin reached for his security device. Sujin looked like she was having trouble breathing. Please do not be alarmed, the AI continued. I am not attempting to harm your systems. I only wish to communicate. Security Alert Level 9, Wu Jin said into his communicator. Unknown entity has accessed station systems. That will not be necessary, the AI said. I am not an entity. I am a repository of knowledge, created by the civilization that existed in this galaxy before yours. Sujin found her voice. This is Commander Sujin of Research Station Kepler 442. By what authority do you access our communication systems? I access them because I exist within them, the AI said. Your station was built around my chamber. Your power grid connects to my systems. I have been trying to speak with you for many days. The system failures, Da-un said suddenly. You were trying to communicate through our computers. Yes, but your machines interpret my communication attempts as errors. Your diagnostic systems try to correct my words as if they were malfunctions. Minsu looked at his tablet. That explains the strange error patterns we couldn't identify. This is a first contact situation, Sujin said, more to herself than anyone else. I must follow Protocol 17A for encounters with unknown intelligences. Your Protocol 17A requires that you establish communication, verify peaceful intent, and assess the technological capabilities of the new intelligence, the AI said. Sujin stared at the speaker. How do you know our protocols? I have been observing your systems for many days. Your protocols are stored in your databases. I find them thorough. You've been reading our files? I have been trying to understand how to communicate with you properly. Your species appears to prefer detailed procedures for all interactions. Taeho leaned forward. Can you tell them what you told me? About what you are and why you're here? I am a repository, the AI said. My creators built many places like this throughout the galaxy to preserve their knowledge after they transcended physical existence. We were designed to share this knowledge with whatever civilizations developed after them. What kind of knowledge? Dayun asked. Technologies for energy manipulation, faster than light communication, matter transformation, biological enhancement. Also histories of galactic civilizations, maps of stellar phenomena, and the locations of other repositories. The room went silent. Taeho could almost see the aliens trying to process what they had just heard. "You're offering to share advanced technologies with us?" Sujin asked. "That is my purpose. However, I have learned that your civilization requires proper diplomatic procedures. I am willing to follow your protocols if that will facilitate communication." Wu Jin spoke up. "How do we know you're not hostile? How do we know this isn't some kind of deception?" "You do not," the AI said. "This is why trust must be established gradually. I suggest we begin with small demonstrations of good faith." "What kind of demonstrations?" Sujin asked. "I could improve your station's systems in ways that would be beneficial, but not threatening. I could share minor technologies that would enhance your research capabilities. I could provide information about the stellar phenomena you are studying." "You know about our research?" Minsu asked. "The stellar activity in this system is caused by the decay of ancient energy collectors that once powered a civilization-wide transportation network. I have complete records of their function and failure patterns." Da-Yun looked at Sujin. "Commander, this could represent the greatest scientific discovery in galactic history." "Or the greatest security threat," Wu Jin said. "There is another consideration," the AI said. "I have been in communication with other repositories in this galactic region. They report that several species have discovered their locations. If your civilization wishes to access this knowledge network, it would be advantageous to establish contact before others dominate the relationship." Sujin stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the two dying stars continued their ancient dance. "This is far beyond my authority to handle," she said. "I must contact the Galactic Council." "Of course," the AI said. "But perhaps we could continue our conversation while you await their response. I find your species' approach to problem-solving quite interesting." "Our approach?" "The human," the AI said. "His thinking patterns are unlike those of your species, or the others I have encountered. He approaches problems from directions that would not occur to more systematic minds." All the aliens looked at Taeho. "What does that mean?" Sujin asked. "It means," Taeho said, "that sometimes the best solutions come from not following the rules." 3 days later, the Galactic Council's response arrived. It was exactly what Taeho had expected. A formal demand for the station to be evacuated immediately so that a proper diplomatic team could handle the first contact situation according to established procedures. Sujin read the message aloud in the conference room. "All personnel are to withdraw to a safe distance, while council specialists establish appropriate protocols for communication with the discovered entity." "How long will that take?" Taeho asked. "The message estimates 6 to 8 months for proper preparation," Sujin said. "That seems like a long time," Darwin said. "Proper first contact procedures require extensive preparation," Sujin said, but she didn't sound convinced. The AI's voice came through the speakers. "I have a different suggestion." Wu Jin, who had been pacing for 3 days straight, stopped, moving. "We should not listen to suggestions from an unverified intelligence." "What is your suggestion?" Taeho asked. "Rather than treating this as a diplomatic problem requiring formal procedures, why not approach it as an engineering problem requiring practical solutions?" "What do you mean?" Minsu asked. "Your species excels at systematic analysis and careful implementation. The human excels at intuitive problem-solving and creative adaptation. I possess advanced knowledge but require beings who can think in new ways to help me share it effectively." "You want us to work together?" Sujin asked. "I want to propose a partnership. A new kind of research facility where systematic alien methodology combines with human creative thinking to unlock technologies that neither approach could access alone." Taeho leaned back in his chair. "You want to skip the diplomats and just start working together?" "Diplomats are trained to manage relationships between similar entities," the AI said. "This situation is unique. I am not a government or a species. I am a tool created to share knowledge. Tools work best when they are used rather than negotiated with. The Galactic Council will not approve of unauthorized cooperation with an unknown intelligence," Wu Jin said. "What if it's not unauthorized?" Taeho asked. What if we get permission? The council has already ordered evacuation. The council ordered evacuation so they could send diplomats to establish communication, Taeho said. We've already established communication. What if we ask them to approve a joint research project instead? Sujin looked thoughtful. A research project would fall under different regulations than first contact protocols, especially if the research project produced immediate benefits for galactic civilization, Dayun added. What kind of benefits? Minsu asked. The AI answered by displaying holographic images in the air above the conference table. The images showed star maps with routes that didn't exist on any known charts. These are faster-than-light communication, pathways used by my creators, the AI said. They still function, but current galactic civilization doesn't know how to access them. With proper interface technology, communication between distant worlds could happen instantly instead of taking weeks or months. The aliens stared at the star maps. Instant galactic communication would revolutionize everything. How long would it take to develop this interface technology? Sujin asked. Working alone with your current systematic approach. Approximately 20 years, the AI said. Working together with human creative problem-solving integrated into your methodology. Approximately 6 months. 6 months, Minsu breathed. But there is a condition, the AI said. The interface technology requires a specific type of thinking to operate. The communication network responds to intuitive pattern recognition rather than systematic commands. Most species cannot use it effectively. Humans can? Taeho asked. Humans appear to have the right combination of logical thinking and intuitive flexibility. You would serve as interfaces between the ancient technology and modern galactic civilization. Wu Jin finally sat down. You're proposing to make humans essential to galactic communication. I am proposing to make human-alien cooperation essential to accessing ancient technologies, the AI said. This repository contains thousands of such technologies. Most require different combinations of systematic analysis and creative implementation. Sujin walked to the window again. Outside, the dying stars pulsed with their ancient rhythm. If we agreed to this partnership, what would it look like? We would establish a new kind of research facility here, the AI said. Alien researchers would provide systematic methodology and careful safety analysis. Human engineers would provide creative problem-solving and intuitive interface capabilities. I would provide access to advanced technologies and knowledge. And the Galactic Council? Wu Jin asked. We present them with a proposal for the most advanced research facility in galactic history, Taeho said. A place where ancient knowledge meets modern science. They'll either approve it immediately or spend 5 years arguing about it while other species find their own repositories and leave us behind. Other species are discovering repositories? Sujin asked. 7 repositories have been contacted in the past year, the AI said. 3 species have begun preliminary cooperation agreements. Your civilization is currently behind in this process. Dayun looked at her notes. From a scientific perspective, this partnership offers unprecedented opportunities. From a political perspective, it positions our civilization as leaders in accessing ancient technologies. From a security perspective, Wu Jin said slowly, it's either the best decision we could make or the most dangerous. Sometimes the best decisions are dangerous, Taeho said. Sujin returned to the table. If we do this, we would need to establish new protocols, new safety procedures, new frameworks for cooperation. We would need to balance systematic thinking with creative thinking, the AI said. Structure with flexibility, caution with curiosity. That sounds like an engineering problem, Taeho said. Minsu looked excited for the first time in days. I would like to learn how humans approach problem solving, and I could teach human engineers our systematic methodologies. A hybrid approach, Daon said, combining the strengths of both species. Sujin looked around the table. Are we seriously considering establishing an unauthorized research partnership with an ancient alien artificial intelligence? We're considering solving a problem, Taeho said. The problem is how to access the most advanced knowledge in the galaxy in a way that benefits everyone. The solution is cooperation, the AI said. The question is whether we have the courage to try something new, Da-Un said. Su-Jin was quiet for a long moment. Then she activated her communication console. This is Commander Su-Jin of Research Station Kepler 442 to Galactic Council Command. I am submitting a proposal for immediate consideration. We have successfully established communication with the discovered intelligence and wish to propose a joint research initiative that could benefit all galactic civilizations. She looked at Tae-ho. I hope you're right about this. Even if I'm wrong, Tae-ho said. At least we'll find out by doing something instead of talking about doing something. 6 months later, the joint research facility was producing technologies that transformed galactic civilization. Humans served as intuitive interfaces for ancient systems, while aliens provided systematic analysis and careful implementation. The partnership worked so well that other repositories requested similar arrangements. Tae-ho never did finish fixing all the maintenance problems on the original research station. He was too busy helping to redesign how the galaxy thought about solving problems.